Well, today, before we start on our jungle picture that we're going to be doing, and we're going to look at our featured artists also before we get started, I want to look at values again. Because a lot of times people think of values as shading, like with a pencil, where it gets lighter to darker. Well, today we're going to show you with color how you can invent or create different values using what you have. So I want you to get 3 colors that are the same thing. Like if they're all green, they're all yellow, they're all blue, or orange. And I want you to pick out a light one, a medium, and a darker one. Now sometimes they'll fool you. They'll look like they're a little lighter when they're not. So we're going to find that out when you get with your white piece of paper and your pastels. Just pick out three colors that are, they're all greens or they're all blues or they're all orange or whatever. See, I have some here that are oranges. You might not be able to see the color that well on the screen, but our yellows, oranges, and greens. If you want to use blue, we're just practicing some values right now before we get started. I'm going to use some greens because we are going to use green today a lot. And if you only have 2 colors that are the same, you got a light one and a dark one, I can show you how to make a 3rd value. Now in our practicing, I'm going to take my lightest green here, and I'm going to draw you a box that you can see the color is. The lighter green, it's like a spring green here. And I have a medium green. And I'm going to show you in a minute, if you only have 2 oil pastels, how you can blend them. And then I'm going to take my darkest green. Now, can you tell the difference in those, how dark that darkest one is? Even though those greens are a little bit different colored green, you have your middle value, you have your light and your dark on either side. Now, if you only have the dark one and the light one, here's how you can create your in-between color. Here's my dark one and my light one. I'm going to draw my light one. And then I'm going to put my darkest one over here. Now we wanted to create a color that's in between there, a different value, a lighter value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my light one and I'm going to lightly draw in between here, color it in just lightly. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to take my dark one and I'm going to blend it in with the light one. And that's going to blend those 2 colors together to come up with a medium color. See how now I have a light, a medium, and a dark. So that's how you can do if you only have say 2 green ones or 2 red ones or whatever. You can create your own. You can make even more value than that if you took your lightest, say you had 3 of them. You took your lightest one and you wanted to make it lighter. You could add some yellow to it and make it even lighter. I'm blending yellow in with that green. See how it made it a little bit lighter? Made a lighter green. Then I got my medium, my lightest green that I had before. Now to make it a little darker, I could take my green here, my lightest green again, and I could add my next value that's just slightly darker, which would be this one right here. And then I can take that color I just blended with it and put it right here. And let's say I have my darkest value, which is this one over here. I'm going to blend these 2 together to make the value in between. I'm going to put a little bit of this and a little bit of that together. So if you combine the 2 on each side, you'll end up with a value in between there. Might not show up on your screen as well, but this is how you can create different values, because when we go to do our jungle scene, we're going to want different colors of green. On your screen, these might look about the same. Over here on my end, they are different values. So that's how you can create your different values. Now on your screen here, your same piece of paper, we're going to practice doing some fern bushes and some regular ones, some little leaves. So what I'm going to start with, my darker value, and I'm going to draw the veins on this little fern bush I'm going to draw. And you can practice drawing this too. And in order to make this look like a palm leaves, you're going to add little lines just like this. These are the little veins to it. You should be drawing this along with me. And you'll save this piece of paper, so if you want to test out any colors, you can test it on here before doing it on your black paper. Because we're going to do our jungle scene on our black paper. It's going to make it really pop off the page with all these nice bright colors that we have. So you'll see I added these little lines of the dark. Now I'm going to add lighter on top. The lighter on top is going to make a different value. So the other one's kind of our under shading. This is going to be over this. So it's where the light's hitting on the little branches, the little palm leaves. And you can see how when it blends, it creates the different color when it hits in between on the white paper and on the green that was underneath. And it forms you a different shadowing in there. If you wanted to lighten it up some, you could even come back with a little yellow here and there. And it makes a few little spots, not the whole thing, just here and there. And it will lighten it up for you. If you really want it lighter, you can come back with a little white and blend it in there, and it will blend it in and make it even another value. So you can't see it very well on here, but you will really see it on your black paper. Now, if I was making say a big plant that had some little spikies on it here, I drew the basics on there, but remember we have our shadowing where we have one side's darker and then the other side's lighter. And to do that, we want to create our different values. So you have your dark on this one side, you'll have your lighter on the other side. And then you'll have your medium tone, your medium value in the middle. And you'll blend them together to make one of those, looks like an aloe vera plant. That's kind of what we're kind of imitating right here. And if you get too much of your one color or the other, you can go back in with, say if I need my lighter side a little lighter, I'll put a little yellow on that side. And it'll lighten it up for you. If this were paint and you added yellow paint with green paint, you wouldn't come up with that because it would make what color? If you add yellow and green together, what color do you come up with? Right, but in this case you don't, because these are oil pastels and they don't blend like that. So you can get away with that in this. Okay. Now, if you're really ready, I'm going to tell you about our artist today while you're practicing drawing there, okay? All right, our artist today is Henry Richaud. He was a French painter. This is a self-paint portrait of him. He painted a picture of himself, and this is what he thought he looked like. I saw a picture of him, but he was an older gentleman. He did look somewhat familiar here in this picture. So, but he was really not known as a portrait painter, but as a landscape painter of greenery, tropical leaves, and he lived from 1844 to 1910, and he was a French painter, so he was grew up and lived in France, but he loved to go to the botanical gardens, and he would go and he'd look at all these tropical plants that they would bring back from all different parts of the world. And he would go there, and he quoted one time that he'd like to go there and just dream that he was in a different land of really neat, exotic lands that had all these plants. And so he would go there and he would get inspiration to do his paintings. And I'm going to show you what some of his paintings look like. His paintings were very intricate ones. They had lots of detail on them. You can see here, I'm trying to do it without a glare on it, but you can see little monkeys in the trees. And there's oranges, they're eating the oranges. But lots of leaves and lots of trees and lots of bushes and flowers that he'd never seen before because he'd never traveled to those parts of the world. So he would go and imagine what they would look like or what it would be like to live in those different countries with all those neat looking plants. Here's some other pictures that he did. Sometimes he liked to throw in really exotic animals. Can you see the tiger in this one?
Yeah.
He's kind of hiding in there. He looks like part of the grass, doesn't he? So he had all different kinds of little plants and animals, leaves, some tropical looking flowers. Here's another one where he outlined, just like we just drew that little spiky plant, this has a little white outline to it. Looks like some of those southwest plants that we have here in Texas too. He had some white flowers, and if you'll notice with value, he puts the lightest of the light. See that flower in the middle is really light whites, and then he puts the darkest values around it, and it really makes it pop off in the screen there. So he added a little color. Those little flowers had little red centers in them. But he used a lot of dark colors, but he used a lot of dark values with lighter ones next to it to make them stand out. So we're going to get started on our jungle thing. And your jungle is going to look different than everybody else's jungles. Everybody's going to look different. So if you'll take your piece of paper, your black piece of paper, you can get started on it. Remember, keep your other piece of paper if you need to try a color out to see what it looks like when you blend it. Then you can go and use it to blend with and check it out before you use it on your paper. So you think of what you're going to put on your piece of paper. I'm just going to draw some things. You do not have to draw what I draw. I'm just going to make mine look tropical and maybe a little southwestern. My landscape's going to be different. We're just getting inspiration from our artists that we've seen before. So let's get started on it. Think of something that you really like, and if you are really a good artist, you could try a tiger in there if you're adventurous, or a little monkey later, but I would start with some grass and some little flowers or something that you really like, okay? And if you want to watch me, that's fine, and get some inspiration. It's up to you. I'm just going to start with some tall bushes in the background, and then I'm going to put some little stuff in the foreground. And mine might look a little different color, might not show up in your screen as much, but I'm going to draw with a light thing or dark, a light crayon or a darker one. Our oil pastels are going to be blending and creating very pretty colors together. You'll notice I'm putting a darker color under the lighter color because that's where our shadow is going to be, and that's where we need our darker value.
Can you guys see how she's mixing those different colors while she has them beside each other, the dark green and the light green? You can see it real easy if you can glance back at the computer. It's a little bit easier. So, you can start.
You'll see I have the light green on the top where the light would be hitting it, and the darker green as the shadow.
Yeah.
and just blend them together. As it gets down to the bottom, it needs more darker value there. And it might not show up on your screen just as well, but in real life here, it looks really neat when they blend. And I think on this one, I'm just going to add some little flowers on the ends, make it look kind of cute. Kind of reminds me of those little plants that grow in New Mexico and Arizona. They have little red flowers on the end, so that's what I'm going to add to it. Little here and there. Those are different and kind of from what our environment is over here. We don't see too many of those here. They do grow in Texas, but I haven't seen too many around here. And you can add grass and whatever down below, and you can make yellows or oranges or browns, or I can notice I'm kind of like scribbling almost, but that's how grass is. It kind of goes wild like that, especially if it's out in the desert or out in the jungle. And I'm not going to just leave it one color. I'm going to use different values. I might use kind of a mustardy brown and a yellow and some other colors in there to blend it. Right now I'm adding a little brown in with my grass because there are shadows in that grass. Just very lightly though. Might show up more on your screen than what I have in real life here too. I'm going to make me a big aloe vera plant, I think, over here in this other corner. Kind of get inspired by what I've seen the other artists do here. He had a big leaf sometimes right up in the edge of the painting up close. Just remember, I'm putting the lighter color on the top where the light's going to hit on the top of the leaf, and the darker underneath. Remember, if you need a little lighter color of green, you can always add a little yellow there. Remember, down in the bottom of the page here, under these leaves, it's going to be very dark because there's not going to be any light. It's underneath the plant, down in the middle of that plant, so you'll have some dark down in there. If you need it even lighter, you can use white to blend in it, and it'll be kind of blending in with your color that you already have. Sometimes too, if you have a dark turquoisey green, you can use that to kind of give it a little different green color if you want. This color here is kind of looks blue on the screen, but it actually is kind of a turquoisey green. When I blend it with my other green, it gives a little turquoisey in with it, but it still is a green when it gets done. It doesn't look like it in when you look at it in that's on the stick here. Keep coloring away, and if you don't like the color there, try to blend it with something else and it'll change it for you. You need it lighter or darker. My scene isn't so much a jungle, it looks like maybe Southwest, so I'm going to maybe make some cactuses here.
Oh, I like your blueberries. Your blue little flowers. Put some of these in there somewhere.
One thing I like about cactuses, they have little flowers on them too. I can add some little red flowers or orange or yellow. Sometimes they have pink on them. And if I want to make some little highlights on it, I can come back with a little white and just draw some little bitsy little dashes in there. Kind of highlight it. Makes it stand out. Or if I want to make the little stickers on there, I can make the little stickers stick out too. If you get too much white, you can just take it and just go over it with some more of your green. It'll just cover it up a little bit or not make it so bright. It's too bright for you. It's one thing about oil pastels, you can blend a lot of colors together and get a lot of different values and a lot of different textures too to your piece. So you can tell it's a cactus now, can't you? I have little bitsy little white dots sticking out there. And because you're the artist, you can add any kind of colors you want with it, and you can make yours a jungle scene, whatever kind of plant you like. Now see, I'm going to make this look like he's hiding in the grass a little bit here. Because usually there's grass around them out in the desert or in a jungle. There's always grass around everything. Remember, use some different colors together in combination. That's what's going to make it really look real. In life, we don't notice that there are shadows and stuff. We just see things because we're just used to seeing them. We don't take the time to look at it and see the different values. You can add a little white in there, a little yellow to make it different values. How's it going?
You're looking good.
Good. I want to see some of the different plants that everybody did. So whenever you have time, you just tell them to come up and show it to me towards the end here. You got something really different and really unusual, I'd like to see it. If you'll notice, I'm using that turquoisey color in with my green here. I'm kind of making what they call bluegrass almost. But it's got just a little bit of it in there that makes it look a little different, because each little area you want a little interest so that it draws people's eye to look at the other parts of your pictures. And don't just have it end, have it kind of go over into the other pictures, other areas of different color of your picture, so that it blends in. It doesn't look like it just ends there.
What are you going to draw? Come on, you got to get some more stuff.
Got your exotic animals and plants going there.
I thought I was going to have a peacock a minute ago.
Oh, well, that would have been exotic.
I know. Are you doing a peacock? Okay.
You can make things look like they're in the foreground or in the background. You just gave me inspiration myself to do some other objects in mine. I have a big white flower up here in mine. And you can make some of your objects go off the edge of the page because it draws people's eye over there to go look in that corner and go, oh, hey, where'd that go to? See?
That's cute. You want to show her? Show her on the camera. Stand about like right here. You stand right here. And hold it up.
Perfect.
Can you see that?
Yeah. Oh, a cute bunny. I like it. Very cute. Very good.
I'll show her yours. You guys want to show her yours over there?
Ooh, big flowers too. Very nice. Lovely. Yeah. Very good. Let's see what you have. Oh, pick the bottom up towards me a little bit more. All right. I like your little animals there. What are they? It's a blurry on my picture.
Fly.
Yeah, very nice. Very good. Yep, you used your values, didn't you?
Yeah.
Very good. All right, who's next? Oh, okay. Yep, you got it going on. You even put clouds and the sun up there. Very good. You did good this time. Oh, wow, yeah. You have, I see your dark and light values, and you got little cactuses and all kinds of things. Very nice.
You guys make sure you put your name on the back with the paper, on the paper.
All right. I can see it. Very good.
Yeah.
Oh, is that a monkey you put in there?
Yes.
Yes, he's cute. Very cute. You did a good job. Very good. Keep adding to your picture, filling it in. Just takes a little at a time. I hope everyone this year is proud of their art that they have taken home to their families to show.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.